Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Today is Monday, March 20th, 2023. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup. How are you? How was your weekend? What's going on? And who's here? I want to say good morning to Nathan, Frank, Brian. I know there are others here. You guys are rolling in. Good morning. Welcome. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I did. Had a great hike on Saturday, ate some good food, listened to a great audio book. Yesterday I had my class. What else did I do yesterday? Fixed a small leak around the furnace exhaust pipe on my roof. Ended up with all the ice and the snow and everything. When that melted on, I think it was Friday, there was a little bit of water dripping through, and total, it might have been a teaspoon. It was very little, but it's not something you want to let go. So I got up there on Sunday and found the spots that I thought it was most likely to be coming through and put some sealant on that. So fingers crossed. Dennis says, good morning, Dennis. He says, 6 already. I was just in the middle of a dream. I hope it was a good dream. How often do you all dream? Or I should say, how often do you remember your dreams? I rarely remember my dreams, even when I wake up. Most of the dreams that I remember are not casual ones. They're the ones, you wake up and you're like, was that a dream? In fact, I've had quite a few of those that I still remember as if they happened. It's very odd. Well, I hope you're looking forward to a great Monday and a wonderful week ahead of you. Let me know what you did Friday and through the weekend in the chat, and I'm just going to keep talking, and we'll keep going and see where it takes us. Just a reminder, next Monday night, 8 p.m., episode 800 of Martial Arts Radio Live. Here I am with my tea in my Martial Arts Radio mug because it's a Martial Arts Radio release day. Let's do that now. Today's episode, I think it's the one I think it is. We're going to find out. It is. Yep. So today's episode is with a woman named Becky Bartlett. And it's one of those episodes that, if I was to give you a summary, like bullet points, and you read through them and you'd go, yep, heard this. In fact, for many of you, this is my story too. Yep. Whoa, hard left. And what I love about the hard lefts in my conversations with guests is how often the left was only possible because of martial arts. And this is another example of that, where martial arts led to an non-traditional career that still benefited immensely from martial arts. It's a good conversation. I'm sure you'll enjoy it if you listen to it or watch it, because there is video, so check it out. Good morning to you, Jenny. And it's available in all the places. Good morning, Stacy. It is not snowing right now. And in fact, this week, we are supposed to get some snow, but we've got all these weekday highs in the 40s. So I think a lot of this is going to pack down. It's going to end up being a big block of ice. And I don't love that. But some of it will go away too. That's fine. What's going on today? Some client calls, meetings, got some work in there, client work. Working on bringing on another person to the team. There's some marketing stuff that I'm trying to get done that I took a look and said, okay, what am I spending my time on that I could offload? And what would I be able to, what would we benefit from in offloading? And so I put together a marketing position, and I'm working on hiring that right now. And I think we got like 10 or 12 applications over the weekend, which is good. It's a higher level position. So in the past, when I would advertise for a copywriter or social media person, there were times I get 200, 300 applications. It was too many. It was difficult. And that's where I started to put in these tests. So it's no secret that many of the people that I hire from overseas, because the economics actually work, I could hire someone domestically to do this work with where we're at. And I've learned you got to build the tests in from day one. Don't apply on this website. Don't apply with the system they give you. I need you to send an email to this email address, and I need you to use this as the subject line. And so now anybody who applies on the system, I just ignore, because it means they didn't read the whole job description. I'm even nice about it. At the top, I say, please read the whole thing. And at the bottom, it says, now that you've read the whole thing, this is what you do next. Good morning, Liz. Jenny says highs in the 60s this week here. Well, that's just springtime. That's warm. That's nice. A little bit of an update on my cold shower, because I've gotten to a point now where it's cold enough that it kind of lingers, and it's an interesting sensation. I don't remember what I was getting to last time I talked to you all. I think it was upper 60s. Well, today was 62. And I'll tell you what, up till about 65, 66, I can just stand there in the water. Now, it's cold, don't get me wrong, but I can do it, and I just kind of face it. But even 65 to 62 is a noticeable difference. So I'll do 62 for a couple more days, and then maybe by the end of the week, 61. And I did check. I turned off the hot water entirely at one point, and I saw thermometer get down into the mid 50s. So there's plenty of room left, because 50 something degree water is really cold. 60 something degree water is really cold. But I'm noticing some benefits. For example, I was out last night. Yeah, I guess we can call it night, after my improv class, which, by the way, was going awesome. Having a lot of fun with that. Great group of people. And we all went out for a drink, and walking to the bar from the comedy club, wind whipping up from the lake. If you know Burlington, there's a lake, and the wind just seems to just tunnel up those streets. And I was in a fairly loose sweater, and everybody else is bundled up in a hat and coat and gloves. It was 29 degrees. And aren't you cold? I'm like, it's cold. I don't know that I'm cold, but it's cold. It's not like we were going that far. Frank says, I'm down to 85 for my cold showers. That's awesome. Keep going. So Stacy and Jenny are in the chat. And since you brought it up, I'm going to poke at the two of you here. And Jenny says, Jeremy can have all the cold water. If you were presented with something in the context of martial arts, would you just outright dismiss it? Probably not. Now, the cold water is not going to hurt you. You're not going to be injured. You're not going to die. It doesn't cost you money. It doesn't cost you time. Here's why the cold water matters. It's a question of discipline. Do you have the discipline to do it? Now, it takes minimal time to verify the health benefits. So if you were to look at it and say, yeah, but Jeremy, just doing something for the sake of doing something, that's not worth it. You're right. But there are benefits here, tremendous benefits, benefits that I can start to speak to. But how about the best benefit of the discipline? The fact that because it's difficult, I do it. And that is another example through my day of saying, you know what? I didn't want to do that. I did it. One of the things we seem to forget is that discipline is a muscle. It's not a literal muscle, but it can be conditioned. It can be strengthened. And the most successful people, the people who have the lives that they want, are the most disciplined. They do the things that they don't want to do because they recognize the benefits of them. Do I want to get up at 5 a.m. every day? No. Are there days that the alarm goes off and I think, yay, it's 5 a.m.? No. Now, I might be excited to get up because there are good things going on that day, but I don't want to get out of bed at 5 a.m. Now, it is no secret that I get a lot done, that I'm a productive, effective person. Some would even say successful. I have found success in certain things. Yes. Are those two facts coincidental? No. So, whether it's a cold shower or something else, the next time you think, how do I get what I want? I'm going to encourage you to take a look at the discipline in your life and invite you to find ways to implement more. How do you add more discipline to your life? So here's the thing, Stacy says, and pulsing warm water feels good on my severely aching back. I get that. I'm not saying that I get into a cold shower. I slowly bring it down. You can do both. In fact, I would advise doing both because the contrast, I think, is part of the value. Dennis says, I grew up in an apartment building in the Bronx. I had enough cold showers to last a lifetime. My coldest shower now is 117 degrees. Tell me that's not real. Holy cow, that's hot. Frank says, I'm conditioning myself to deal with changes in temperature, mainly for the summer heat. And again, anytime you guys post something in the chat, it's game to respond to. I'm never going to poke at you guys unless you open the door. Jenny says, I get very few moments of peace and relaxation. I understand that. It takes discipline for me to take a shower most days. I have days like that as well. The comfort of a hot shower is not something I can sacrifice mentally when here's the part, I don't get enough self-care as it is. I would argue that building discipline in yourself is self-care. There are all different kinds of self-care. Setting yourself up for success, for living a good life, for having what you want is self-care. I'm not saying you all have to take a cold shower. If you choose not to take a cold shower, to be blunt, I don't care. If it's not something you want to do, that's fine. But acknowledge why. Be really honest about why. Because it's not a time thing. It's not because you can't handle it. It's not because you can't afford it. It's probably not because you don't understand it. It's because you don't want to. And that's a perfectly reasonable reason. It's not my reason. In fact, when this is not my phrase, but I'm trying to embody it. When I can't, I must. When I'm confronted with something that worries me, concerns me, something that I am nervous to do, I am trying to be that much more likely to do it. Now, are there exceptions? Yeah. The big two are skydiving and bungee jumping. I don't feel the need to do those things. They absolutely terrify me. Are there circumstances under which I might do them? Yes. I would be much more likely to skydive than bungee jump, to be honest. I feel like there's far better qualifications and safety controls in skydiving. And there's another person right there with you. So when I pass out, they can make sure I don't die. You all don't have to live life the way I do. I'm telling you what I'm doing. If it doesn't work for you, that's fine. One of the things that happens with a number of my clients and friends, people I know, they'll come to me, and you've probably had this experience too. And whatever they come to me for is generally under the heading, we can summarize it all as, I don't have what I want. What do you think I should do? And I will give them feedback. Lately, the feedback for all of my clients, martial arts schools and not, has had to do with building daily discipline. Whether it's, I need you to record your voice every day, I need you to write an article every day, I want you to record a video every day, I want you to get up and do forms every day, whatever it is. And the people who do it, the people who build strong, daily, disciplined habits, progress the fastest. When your daily routine no longer feels like it requires any energy, it's time to add something else or change something, because it's not the outcomes, it's the discipline that is the important part. When I have people who, I've done a daily video for the last 90 days. Okay, now that you have to do this with the video. You have to post it. You have to, I want you to do the videos on this, something. Right? We start making these modifications to the discipline. And this is a very martial arts principle here, isn't it? What's the discipline when you start out? You show up. It's all you have to do. You show up. There's very little expectation. But then eventually it's, okay, I need you to get these movements in this way or in this order. And then that line is drawn in the sand and you are given higher rank. Is the expectation ever that you're going to go back to simply showing up, that you're going to forget everything you learned? No. It's another example of your discipline getting pushed forward and pushed forward and pushed forward. You are expected to continue to grow without rolling back. Dennis says, I have no plans to do either, but I'll take skydiving over bungee jumping 8 days a week. Yeah. I've read too many horror stories. Those of you who are doing the flexibility challenge, there's a daily discipline. Why am I continuing to roll out new programs? By the way, the next program, I did lay out the groundwork on Friday. It's pretty close to done. And if you're in the Martial Arts Radio group, Facebook group, Martial Arts Radio Behind the Scenes, you may not remember, but we did a vote in there and it was overwhelming what people wanted. So that's the one we're going to do. Now Frank sent over some stuff. So all right. We continue our look. I'm sorry, I got like mom coming in right now. We continue our look at Women's History Month. Let me adjust this. Wish there was a way for me to default it to that when I share. There might be, but I've not seen it. We continue our look at Women's History Month. 3 quotes from Oprah. How many people are known by their first name? Not very many people. Oprah, Sting, Prince, Kobe, LeBron, Cher, Madonna. We might be able to get a list of 20 that were pretty universal. That's something that's always fascinated me. Be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. And some people might look at this and say, oh, well, Oprah's like the richest woman in the world and blah, blah, blah. If you know her history, you know she did not always have. I think the people that we should spend the most time paying attention to when it comes to money and success are those who started without it. People who started with very little or nothing. And there are plenty of people out there to look at. It's very easy to point to success and point out all the advantages that somebody else had that we don't. But at the end of the day, it's a mindset. It's discipline. It's creativity. It's a whole bunch of things that you probably know. You probably have them. I believe everybody watching this show or listening later, live later or listening, has the capacity for extreme success. What's the difference? What is the difference between being extremely successful by whatever definition you make and where you are now? It's discipline. What's another way of saying discipline? Sacrifice, commitment, doing the things that need to be done to achieve whatever those goals are that you have. Most people are not willing to make those sacrifices. In my 20s, when most of my friends were meeting people, getting married, getting into the corporate world, I was starting a business. It was lonely. It was difficult. But the skills that I built then make me an amazing consultant now. I'm able to help a lot of people because I've been in the trenches. I've had to do all this stuff. I delayed success. Was it intentional? No, I wanted success then. But I knew if I just kept going, that's the attitude I bring to Whistle Kick now. I'm just going to keep working on it. Stacy says, rappelling over the edge of a 9-story building was enough for me. It was about 6 months post-separation, and Jeff was holding the other end of the line. Wow, that's Jeff being her ex-husband. That's impressive. That's a lot of trust there. That's great. Next. You are responsible for your life. You can't keep blaming somebody else for your dysfunction. Life is really about moving on. It's another way of saying the first one, isn't it? Instead of pointing or blaming or looking for what's missing, focus on what you have. This is one of the rare times where I think martial arts philosophy does not translate as well into the real world. In martial arts, we tend to look at what our skills are, and we should look at where we're deficient. I genuinely believe that as a martial artist, when we focus on the things we're weakest at, that's where the most progress comes in, because all the things that we do in martial arts interrelate. So let's say your balance is your biggest limitation. If you get better at balancing, everything else gets better. Your sparring gets better, your basics get better, your forms get better. It all gets better, right? Like, makes sense. But in the real world, when it comes to achieving goals, there's a good chance that focusing on what you're weakest at will not get you there. Focusing on what you're best at will. I believe everybody has something that they have the capacity to be better at than anybody else in the world. The difference is, the reason we don't see it very often is twofold. One, a lot of people never discover it because they don't try enough new things. Number two, they don't put in the work to do that. And in the martial arts world, the example I continue to go back to is Bill Wallace. It is no question, if you've spent any time with him, you can easily recognize, here he is, what is he now, Dennis? 77? At 77 years old, is still a better kicker than 99+% of people alive. He's the best kicker in the world. He's amazing. Are there skills in the martial arts that other people are better than him at? Yes. So I'm not saying he's the best martial artist, saying he's the best kicker. Sometimes you got to be specific. What am I the best at? I've got some ideas. What are you the best at? Do you know? Do you spend time working on it? Is it worth the sacrifice? Most of you would say no. That's okay. I'm not saying you have to, but it's your choice. And recognize that it is always your choice. No other comments. We lost some viewers. I might have been a little harsh this morning. I wonder if that. Tell you what, if I'm harsh and direct and some people leave because of that, they're probably the ones that needed to hear it the most. My tea. All right. Last one. Last quote from Oprah today. Let excellence be your brand. When you are excellent, you become unforgettable. Doing the right thing even when nobody knows what you're doing. The right thing. Doing the right thing even when nobody knows you're doing the right thing will always bring the right thing to you. Let me read that again because I watched it. Let excellence be your brand. When you are excellent, you become unforgettable. Doing the right thing, even when nobody knows you're doing the right thing, will always bring the right thing to you. Knowing the right thing to do is easy. Doing it is not always. In fact, quite often it's very difficult. What is the right thing for you? What is the right thing for your family? What is the right thing for your friends, your children, your job, your career, your goals, your physical health? There's a great one. How many of us constantly do the best things for our body? Almost none of us. I don't, not always. I work on getting closer and closer. It's not easy. Simple, not easy. Willpower is a thing. Just reading the comments. I'm not going to put your comment on screen, Jenny, but I want you to change that language. Stop identifying with it. It is not you. It's something that you have experienced. We've done that over the phone enough. You know what I'm talking about. I want you to have a great day. I want you to have an utterly incredible day. And you have the ability to do that. And I would encourage you to think about discipline. You know, if the things that I'm talking about are difficult to hear, if they're rubbing you the wrong way, if your initial reaction is, I don't have time for that, I don't have energy for that, you know, if your first thought is to distance yourself from that idea, then you are exactly the person who needs to take a look at it. Discipline doesn't have to be a cold shower. It doesn't have to be any one thing. It just needs to be something that you can do consistently, that you are capable of, that is a little bit difficult. It has to be something you don't quite want to do. Maybe you're used to getting up at 5:30 and you get up at 5:25 and you spend that extra 5 minutes doing something. It can be that simple. Are you worth it? That's really what the question is. The question is, do you believe you are worth the effort? And if you don't, I'm sorry, but I hope you do. Circling back to the beginning before I let you go, Dennis says, I stand corrected. Our hot water heater heats the water to 117, but I do mix it with a little cold water. For me, there is nothing more luxurious than a good hot shower, but in honor of this convo, I have just a little extra cold today. Great. Thanks for coming by. I hope you have a great day. Those of you, no, I'm not, that's not a public thing. What else? Go check out Becky Bartlett's episode of Martial Arts Radio. I think you're going to like it. It's some interesting stuff. And I took some gambles as an interviewer in this one, and they paid off. And I was very thankful that they did. Took some risks. So you'll probably hear that or see that when you check it out. And as always, if you want to help us out, you know what you can do. Tell people about what we're doing. Help us grow Whistlekick's reach. It continues to be the number one thing I ask for. But it's a thing that seemingly people are less willing to do. I appreciate when you guys buy stuff. I love when you show up to things. Absolutely. But how many martial artists do you know, and how many of them know about us? Can we push that number up, please? I appreciate all of you, regardless. Thank you for being here. And I hope to see you back here tomorrow. Have a great day. Take care, everybody. Peace.